Well, aren't you a good-looking crowd? It's really good to be here. And I need to say, Glenn said something about real estate agents not being respected and liked and stuff. My experience is different. I went to market 18 months ago, and I have great respect for the agents who try to help us. And I think you guys have actually the gift of the gab. You're very good at reading nonverbal communication in general. So being in the property market, I think you all know what this is. So as I hold up the hammer, because you know hammers, you've had experience with it, your brain will make associations with it. So I'm very curious, who here saw the hammer and thought building, construction, tool of the trade, something like that? Okay. Who saw the pink handle and thought, oh, how cute, how girly, not very useful? Nobody? Oh, there's one. And who thought blunt force trauma? The therapist will see you after the session. The bottom line is that when we meet people for the first time, we make associations about them. We form first impressions based on our own cultural background, our biases, and our personal experience, as well as the verbal and the non-verbal cues they send us. Now, you can use this to your advantage by tapping into what we call the halo effect. Now, the halo effect is it's a cognitive bias that we have, and it's a shortcut that we use. Our brain is fundamentally lazy a little bit. And so what we do is we form an overall positive experience of somebody we meet based on only one or two positive traits. Now, those traits can be unrelated to the overall impression, and they can be untrue. But the bottom line is we create these impressions, and we tap into the halo effect. An example of that is people who are taller and are seen to be more attractive are automatically assumed to be smarter and more trustworthy, whether that is accurate or not. So how can you take advantage of this? Now, I believe as real estate agents, you already tap into the halo effect by the way you dress. You are often, if not always, very well presented. You often wear suits, some ties. Ladies wear really good clothes, semi-formal or smart casual. So as with presenting really, really well, you automatically come across as more competent, more confident, more trustworthy, and successful. So with regards to nonverbal communication and first impressions, when I came onto stage, I smiled, and most of your impression of me initially was based on nonverbal communication. It happens so quickly. And in general, we have 7 seconds to make a good first impression. When you go online and you look at profile pictures or you want to create a good website, you've got less than 2 seconds before people might feel that they need to scroll on by. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some nonverbal cues that you can use with your clients to be able to trigger the halo effect, create a great first impression, and then it's up to you to deliver on the other side. Cool. So you know that people want to do business with those they like and trust. So how do we do that? So first of all, you want to be seen as trustworthy, likable, and confident. You want to give your clients a little bit of TLC. So trustworthiness, our hands are our trust indicators. Our brains give a lot of attention to what that we see when we have our hands out. So I walked onto stage, I wasn't carrying a weapon. I did bring the weapon out later on, but initially you saw my open hands. And our brain also gave attention to our hands because we rely on it to do a lot of things in life. Pick things up, eat, build, all those kind of things, as well as using it to communicate. So I can use my hands appropriately, and I said, there's this big thing I want to show, or this thing that I just bought recently is a round object. So we can use our hands to underscore or italicize or draw attention to what we see. The next one is congruency. So if I walked onto stage and I go, so good to be here. I've got a really big idea that I'm going to share with you. I've got 3 points I'm going to make, and you're going to really change the way you think about marketing. You're not going to believe what I said. Because my verbal and my non-verbal communication or my signals are so incongruent, immediately your brain goes onto a high alert and it goes, something's off. So immediately there's suspicion and decrease in trust. So open hands and congruency. And then the next one is to make appropriate eye contact. So what do I mean by appropriate eye contact? Now, there's 2 parts to this. One is, how long do you look at somebody when they speak to you? So if I look at you and I speak to you for 15 minutes and I never break eye contact, it's going to feel a little creepy, a little invasive. Or if I speak to you and I don't look at you at all, you're going to go lose interest, or you're going to feel that I'm not interested in what you have to say at all. So it's the length of time we actually engage with eye contact, as well as the way we look at people. So it's, again, you can bore into somebody's soul, or you can do the looking up and down, eyebrow raise. So it's about being appropriate, and that can help you establish trust. So we live in Auckland, and we have 220 ethnic groups living in the city. Some people have a higher capacity for more direct and longer eye contact, and for some cultures, direct eye contact feels disrespectful. So what do we do? This Goldilocks band that we want to use is that approximately 60 to 70% of the amount of time that you engage with a client, make eye contact. And then you break eye contact. You can look just past their ears or their forehead or just above their head or somewhere else, but then come back to eye contact. The other one is to keep your gaze above the nose. That is called power gazing, and it is most appropriate for business sessions for people you don't know very well. If you drop your gaze below the nose, it becomes more social gazing and intimate gazing, and we don't want to do that. All right, okay, so open hand gestures, congruency, and appropriate eye contact. The other thing with just open hand gestures, what they found with research is if you have open hand gestures when you speak to your clients, you are not just seen as more trustworthy, they feel more respected. And they remember more of the content that you give them. All right, so moving on, likability. Easiest way to show likability is show warmth, and it's just by smiling. So if you walk past a stranger in the city or in a mall and you go, hi, they go, hi, do I know you? So 9 out of 10 times when we smile at somebody, they will smile back at us. So smiling shows warmth. The other one, like open hand gestures, is open body language. When I stand here with open body language versus standing far away and standing like this, I look more approachable. People like feeling liked. People want to be liked and seen and heard. And so when we make people feel comfortable around us, they will like us more. So if you go to a potential client or you phone them, and if you can make them feel comfortable, your likability will go up. Okay. And then our empathy anchors. So what do I mean by empathy anchors? When we talk to people, and you have to, we saw a video just now with Glenn, like the lady crying. When you sell a house, it is an emotional thing. People can get excited about what's coming up, but normally when it's an emotional thing. I went to market 18 months ago and I thought, well, at the thought of leaving, I've been in that house for nearly 30 years. It's a little bit emotional. So you want to be able to gauge that kind of sadness or excitement or emotion of the client. And the way to do it is to actively listen to them and listen well. So empathy anchors is when somebody actually speaks to you. You can do this slight head tilt. When we do the head tilt, you show your ears. It's a nonverbal cue saying, I'm all ears. I am listening to you. So you can do a slight head tilt. And as they speak, you do a slow nod. And then you can do that little sound like, tell me more. And that says, I am listening to you. I'm not just hearing, I'm actually giving your attention. And then, especially when you're in front of a client, they talk about the stuff that they're really passionate about, you can do the lean in. So you bring your whole body forward. You sit in your seat and go, oh, tell me more. You can even speak a little bit quieter to bring them in. So you lean into that conversation, and it shows interest. So genuine smile, open body language, and use your empathy anchors, the nod, the head tilt, and leaning in. Confidence. So if I walked on the stage and I looked very nervous, you might have thought, well, don't really want to listen to what you say because you're not so sure about what you're going to say. So easy way to show confidence is posture. You guys and ladies are very good at that anyway. You show up really well presented. So posture is very good or very important. One thing, I don't know, how many have heard of Amy Cuddy and the Power Pose? No? Maybe one thing. So if you are nervous before you go see a client, or you have to do a presentation and you feel a little bit rattled, or you are new to real estate, the business, you can actually do what is called the power pose. So what you do is you stand in a superhero position. What this does is you open your chest, your shoulders are back, head's up, and you take more space, physical space. And what happens in your body physiologically, your testosterone levels actually go up. And testosterone is what makes us feel that, yes, so we can do this. And your cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone, that actually decreases. So all you need is 5 minutes of standing like this, and there will be a shift internally, which will translate outwardly as well. And if you look at the halo effect, confidence gives us the impression of competence as well, and then you have to deliver on that. The second one is vocal power. So again, use your vocalizer, use your voice well. I don't know how many Kiwis do that, but oftentimes the Australians, maybe, I think, they will speak with an up inflection at the end of a sentence. So I think this house is really lovely. So that sounds more like a question than a statement. When I went to market in January last year, the real estate agent said to me, Elizabeth, we want you to put a door on your pantry. And I go, ugh. But I did, because they said to me, Elizabeth, I need you to put a door on your pantry. They didn't go, Elizabeth, you need to put a door on your pantry. Because when you do the up inflection, it actually opens you up for debate. You're more open to be argued with if you ask a statement rather than say a statement. Okay, so vocal power. Also, when we feel anxious and when we feel excited about something, we tend to speak faster and our registry goes up, so we speak higher as well. So what you can do is just take a breath and then you speak on the out breath. Because when you do that, your registry actually lowers. You sound lower, you speak a little bit slower. And when you speak a little bit slower, you can actually mirror your clients. So if they speak a lot faster than you, you can speed up a little bit to mirror them. Because when we get mirrored, we feel comfortable. We feel that this person gets us. We're on the same team. And then if they speak a lot faster, then you can speed up a little bit. Okay, so posture and vocal power. The third one is to avoid self-soothing behavior. What is self-soothing behavior? Do you know when you feel nervous? What are the kind of things that you do? So you can either bite your nails, or you fidget with your jewelry, or you play with your hair, or you pace a lot, you hold your breath, or you play with your tie. All these little things that we do when we feel nervous, and it comes across as lacking in confidence. Also, when you do those things in the space with a client, that energy that you bring can translate into that space. And if you feel very, very nervous, the other person can actually pick up on that. There's a YouTube thing my husband listens to about motorcycling, and this guy speaks really, really fast, and he hardly breathes in between. I cannot actually listen to that because I keep holding my breath and go, can you just breathe? So that energy does translate. Okay. So what I thought I'll do is very quickly talk about a handshake. Handshake's very, very underrated. So what I would like you to do, just the person next to you, can you quickly give them a handshake? All right. Now, I'm not going to ask you who you thought had a good handshake, because you get anything from the bone crusher all the way, thank you, all the way to the limp fish thing. A handshake is a very underrated tool. A handshake is a very underrated tool that we can use to establish rapport, to show confidence, and show connection. When we shake hands with somebody, we stand in their personal space, we make eye contact. When we make eye contact, our body secretes a chemical called oxytocin. Oxytocin makes us feel connected to other people. So you're in a small proximity, you're right next, you're in the personal space, shake hands, there's physical contact, you make eye contact, you smile. All those nonverbal cues that creates the halo effect. So when you do shake hands, make it a good one. Okay. So I'm suggesting when you see a new client or you've got a potential client and you can, and you know who it is that you're going to speak to, stalk them. I mean, do your research. Google, go to Google. Because how many of you have Googled each other in the past? Yep, well done. I'm sure there's more of you. However, what happens when you Google somebody? You look at their social media accounts and you actually find out what's important to them. You find out what their hobbies are. It can help to find out what cultural background that might be important to them. So if you Google me, you will see that I like motorbikes, I drink wine, and I have a cat. So why do we do that? Because if you can drop something like that into a conversation with a potential new client, they're going to perk up. There's this moment of, so do I. I did not know you were into this. It's a point of connection. And when we feel connected, there's rapport and there's trust and there's likability. Again, the halo effect at work. The other thing is to find a profile photo. So look at the different medias, find a profile photo of the person you may speak to that you like. And that brings me to one of two scenarios, that's more practical scenarios that I want to explain or to tell you how to use the nonverbal cues that I've just talked about in a practical setting. So the first one is the phone call. When you have a phone call, you can only take your conversation off the audio cues. There's no verbals, there's no facial expressions you can see, there's no body language that you can read. So you have to be attuned to vocal cues only. However, if you pull up a profile photo of the person you are going to speak to, or you waiting for a call from this particular person, pull up the profile photo, what happens? You look at the profile photo, your brain goes, face, eye contact, oxytocin. And when you speak to somebody, when you look at the photo during the phone call, there's more warmth in your voice. Emotionality can be picked up over the phone. They've done research where they said hello in different scenarios, where a scowl on their face, like hello or hello. And you can hear the difference. So pull up a profile photo of the person you are going to speak to. And then also, if there is something that you have in common, drop that into conversation. The second one is to check your own mood. Who here has picked up a phone call in the past or make a phone call when you felt angry or upset or frustrated? I certainly have, and I nearly lost a client because of that. So again, emotionality comes across over the phone, but if you're angry when you answer a phone, what is the person on the other end going to do? Hello? It's like there's this retreat going to happen. When we feel the need to retreat, there's the fight and flight in our brain, and immediately there's a breach of trust. I don't like this person. I can't trust them. I felt uncomfortable. So check your own mood and make sure that you are okay in your own body before you make that phone call. And then we talked about vocal power. Again, on the phone, over the phone, you can hear emotionality, but you can also, again, apply the speaking low and slow. Mirror their pace and their cadence, and also mirror some of the words they may say to you. If they use a lot of power words, mirror those back to them. If they use a lot of emotive words, mirror some of that back to them. And then last one is on the phone is smile. Again, you can see if you do that, and you can actually go practice that. Your body, your emotions follow your body. So if you go and stand and scowl and feel angry or make yourself feeling angry, you're going to change the way you speak. Versus if you speak with a smile on your face, it sounds lighter and more friendly and more warm. Okay. What you can do if you want to go home, go get a recorder out and record something like, "Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I would like you to sell my house for me." And then you lie down, record that, sit up and record it, stand, do the same, and then stand and smile. And you can actually hear the difference. Okay. And the second scenario is if you are in a person's home. You're in a client's home, and you know it's their turf. So they might feel more confident in their own home, and they might feel a little bit more in control. But at the same time, you're going to come in, you're going to look at my house, and I might feel that there's something that you're going to judge. You're going to judge the place that's important to me. So first thing I think is have a genuine compliment to give the person. The home where they have been for so many years holds memories. It holds emotion. It's where dreams are built and sometimes realized. So it's a place that's very close to their heart. So give them a real compliment. And then be curious. Ask them to tell you the story of their home. I have a story about how we were able to buy the house we have been living in for the last 25 years. And I honestly will tell it to anybody who will listen. It's a long story, so I won't tell it to you right now. But it's very, very close to my heart. And so listen to those things in your clients. When you hear something that's very important to them, don't ignore it. Hone on that. Say, "I can see this is hard for you," or "I can see you're very excited about the next step," that kind of thing. Facial expressions is a big component of nonverbal communication. It's something, if you can read it really well and respond really well to it and appropriately to it, your client will feel that you get them. You don't need to point out specific expression that you see, but if you can appropriately respond to that, they will really feel that you're on their team, that you understand them. So when you listen to their story and you see something like excitement or sadness, just say something like, "I can see this is really hard for you. I know that this has been a long journey for you. Oh, you're so excited. What are you excited about for the next step?" And then when you come to the numbers, and for us, our house didn't sell because we were stubborn and didn't reduce the price. But honestly, our agents were absolutely amazing. And so when it comes time for the numbers and they say something, or you say to the client, "I think you can get this for them, for your house," and they show you contempt or anger or frustration, don't point out, "Oh, that's an angry face," or "I can see you're angry." Just go, "Is there something in what we just said that you don't understand? Is there something that I can clarify for you? Would you like me to go over the numbers again and dig it a little bit deeper?" So if you appropriately respond to nonverbal cues, the client will feel that you get them. They will feel good in your presence. And when they feel good in your presence, they will like you, they will trust you more, and they would want to do business with you. And then empathy anchors. Again, listen to their story, and while you listen to their story, do the head tilt, do the slow nod. People like to talk about themselves. When we allow people to do that, they feel good. If they feel good when you are in their presence, they will like you because their brain, it's you who make them feel good. Yep. So head tilt, slow nod. And if we use spaces as well, let them talk a little bit more. Don't just interject or interrupt or whatever. They will enjoy that moment of being able to talk about what's important to them. And then the lean in. So in summary, you want people to trust you, see you as likable, see you as confident. You employ these nonverbal cues to trigger the halo effect in your client. Because of that, they will have a great first impression of you, and then it's your job to deliver on that expectation afterwards. What I will leave you with is this. When you sell somebody's home, you hold their hearts in your hands. When you find a new home for them, you have their dreams in your hands. And my encouragement is that you will use both or carry both with great care. Thank you so much.